Hey everybody, I want to take just a moment and discuss mortgage payment deferment. I've been seeing this pop up all across social media. There are some concerns with this and some things you need to know. I am not the only one that has sounded this alarm, but I also wanted to add to this a little bit as well because there are some things that you need to be aware of. So first and foremost, be aware how this affects you and what this could mean. So let's talk about what does deferment actually mean when we're talking about a mortgage payment deferment. Oxford Dictionary says it's the action or fact of putting something off to a later time, a postponement. So what we're talking about is some of the mortgage servicers understand that there are a lot of people right now that are going to have problems paying their mortgage probably for several months. And they are floating the idea or offering the idea that you can postpone paying those mortgage payments. So in and of itself might be a good thing for those people that are really in a bind. So how does this actually work? And this is what you need to know because it's going to be different for every mortgage company. So for instance, let's just say that you're in a position where you need to defer your mortgage payment for several months. So we'll say April, May, and June. When are those payments going to be due? I'm going to assume that most, if not every single mortgage servicer is going to expect that you pay those payments at some point. So this is what you need to know. When are those payments going to be due? We are getting kind of an inkling, and there have been several social media posts that have addressed this as well, that some of the big lenders particularly are deferring mortgage payments for several months. But what they're doing is they're allowing you to skip April, May, and June, but then they're expecting all those payments to be made up in July. So in the short term, you don't have to make a mortgage payment, but then suddenly in a few months, you now are responsible to make 4 mortgage payments at the same time, or it could be more than 4, but in this example, 4 mortgage payments at the same time. In the best of times, I'm not sure how many people can do 4 mortgage payments. So this is something that you need to be aware of. You need to clearly understand what your mortgage company requires or expects of you if they're allowing you to postpone your payments for the time being. I think in an ideal world, how this would work for people, and hopefully you have a mortgage service provider that will do this. For instance, if you took out your mortgage January 1st of 2015 and it's a 30-year mortgage, your final payment may be January 1st of 2045. So ideally, what would happen is you've got the 3 payments that you need to defer right now in 2020. Where would those payments need to be made up? Well, again, in a perfect world, I think those payments being added to the end of the mortgage term is the ideal for most people. Again, so if your last payment was scheduled to be due January 1st of 2045, you would now then be responsible for February, March, and April in order to make up those 3 payments that are being deferred at the moment. So again, I think that's the ideal situation for most people. Again, you must know how this is going to affect you before you go ahead and defer your payments. Not doing so could be extremely costly. We don't know what happens if you are with one of those lenders and you have to defer those payments and they expect all these payments to be made up in July or August. What happens if you can't? Are they going to work with you? Are they not going to work with you? Does that make you subject to foreclosure proceedings? Those are things that you need to make sure that you have a grasp on. I am not a mortgage professional. This is just some things that I am seeing out there, and I know there are some people also sounding this alarm. I just want to be sure that you are made aware of it so that you can reach out to your specific mortgage company and find out what they expect of you if you have to defer those payments. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or John Franco. We're happy to either answer those directly, and if we don't know the answer, we will find somebody that does. Take care.